Welcome to Watch Diary. I am so glad you are here. It's a wonderful Sunday morning. Yeah, Sunday morning. It's Mother's Day at the time that I'm recording this. So if you are a listener and a mother, happy Mother's Day. I don't think I have any of those. And if I do, I don't know. But regardless, if you are a mother and you listen to this podcast, happy Mother's Day. If you haven't told your mother happy Mother's Day, do that as well. I just got off the phone with mine. And I'm not going to get to see her today because I have work later and it's going to keep me from seeing her. But regardless, I did what I could. Probably not even that. I didn't even come up with a gift. Actually, I do have a gift for my mom. My family, not so great at giving gifts. Me and my siblings weren't really raised to do so. So honestly, it's one of those things where like every time a holiday comes around, like a Christmas or a birthday or whatever, I ask my siblings or my siblings ask me, did you get me anything? And depending on if they say yes or no, then you know you have to get them something too. So every Christmas, I have to ask my younger sister especially, did you get me anything? And if she says yes, then I'm like, so I have to get you something? And she'll say yes. And so that's just how it's done. But my mom understands. I think I might be the most broke of her children right now. So I couldn't really splurge for any holidays, well, for anybody really. So I'm probably not the best at that in general, getting people gifts and stuff. But yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of money this summer. But I actually do have something for my mother that I bought for myself, but it didn't work out. But it would also be a good gift for my mother. It's not like I'm giving my mother an Ocean's 11 4K Steelbook. Like, it's something that I got. It didn't work out, but my mom would appreciate it. So whenever I see her next, I'm going to get her that thing. I don't know why I'm dancing around it like she listens to this podcast. It was this t-shirt. It's designed to be like retro to commemorate the 1998 Kentucky Wildcats NCAA championship. So the t-shirt just looks like a shirt that I would have had if I was 7 or 8 years old. Straight out of the 90s. It's super cool. What I don't know is if the design is actually from back then or if they did it to like replicate something that you would have had back in the day. I don't know that, but it was a pretty cool shirt. I ordered a large and they sent me the smallest large shirt I've ever laid my eyes on. That's a weird way to describe it. I'm out of practice with podcasting. Yeah, that's what I've realized about myself, guys. I put out that update a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago now. And prior to that, I haven't podcasted for 10 months. So it's been pretty crazy to, brush off the cobwebs and all that good stuff. But I'm more relaxed. I'm like leaned back in my chair. I've got my feet propped up on my little subwoofer here. I've got my cold brew as per usual. One thing I've changed, and you can really understand this if you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast, but I've got these little soundproofing things up on my wall here that I've put up since my last episode. And I don't know that they work. And I shouldn't even really call them soundproofing because they don't soundproof. I still hear reverb. I still hear echo. I still get reflections, which is a word I've recently discovered. To me, they all just mean the same thing. My room is too loud. It's too noisy. It's too echoey. So the reflections, I guess, bounce from wall to wall, and that's where the echo comes into the mic. And I put these things up. I also knew that if I put them up, it would like make my wall look better because I have nothing on this wall behind me. Nothing. So I put them up and I spent hardly any time on it. I didn't have anybody else here to help me. I didn't have like a step ladder or a proper level. I used a level app on my phone. I think they actually look pretty good. So this is my, how do I want to call it? This is my short wall. So the wall I'm looking at is my long wall. That's the length of my bedroom. This is the width of my bedroom behind me. So if you're standing on the other side looking at this wall, it looks really good. These are all a foot apart. Here, I'll move out of the way. So you can see this first one right here. This is the first one on the wall, and it stops right here. This one goes up. The next one goes down. So it's like a pattern. They go up and down. It's like well, not a zigzag, but you get it. So based on where my desk is and my camera is and where I sit, what I did looks really stupid. Like, look at my frame right now. It looks really dumb, and I don't like it. I'm gonna deal with it because I don't know what else to do. But just based on the angle of the camera, the perspective and everything, I think it looks like trash. I don't like that there's a space behind me right here. I don't like you can see so much of the wall, and you can't tell because I'm in the way. You can't tell the pattern that I did. So anyway, I think it looks bad, but I'm not going to change it. So we're just going to have to settle with it. And honestly, that's what sucks is I sat down to record a video that I haven't put out yet. I can still hear the reflections. And I also can't even say, well, at least it looks better, because it doesn't look better either. So I don't think it solved my issues at all. But we're just going to have to wait until this channel makes money. And that's what we're going to have to wait for. Wait for the channel to make money so I can like deck out my room properly. So again, to catch everybody up, recently I lost my job. It sucks. I have a new job now. I'm not going to tell you where, because I've consciously tried to remove my name from the internet piece by piece, which seems backwards. And I understand, because I'm trying to be more active on YouTube, and there's all kinds of things on YouTube that have my name on them, particularly like the Collider shows and stuff. But I don't know. As I get older, I just like care less about what my name means to people. But if people want to figure it out, they can figure it out. But I also didn't want it to be easy for like an employer to find me. I think that's probably what went into it the most. I don't care that you know my name, but I didn't want just, some lumber yard or whatever the hell I applied to just look me up and see me, talking about my IBS or some shit. So that's really the main reason why I did it. I don't really care other than that. But I was trying to get a job. The job market sucks. So if you're watching this and you're unemployed, I know what you're going through a little bit. Job market's terrible. I applied to, I don't know, several dozen jobs and maybe heard back from 2 or 3 of the worst ones. I was qualified for most of them. There were a couple that like, it definitely would have been a different path for me. And like, there would have been a learning curve, but I was still like qualified for, because if I can be honest, I feel like I can do most jobs that don't, obviously I can't be a doctor. I'm not talking about that, but most jobs that exist out there that I applied for, I could definitely do and crush and learn to crush. But it was terrible. I guess I went a total of, trying to think. I was laid off. Where I live, you can't file. I don't know if this is how it is everywhere, but where I live, you can't file for unemployment for 13 days after your last paycheck. Like I couldn't even apply, not just like receive a payment. So I had to live off of my very last paycheck, some of my savings, and then I could apply. So then you get approved, however long that takes. It takes like another week or so, because I guess they reach out to your employer. So I got approved for it. And then you have to submit how you looked for work. So they give you like, I'm trying to think of how it works. You have to submit 5 times that you applied for, interviewed for, whatever. And one of the jobs that I applied and even interviewed, I did an in-person interview. Probably, I think it was the only in-person interview that I did other than the one that I got. And it was for a shift position at a coffee shop. And I chose not to take it because I didn't know what the wage was. So when they told me what the wage was, it was less than half of what I had made previously. The minimum wage in Kentucky is very low. It's $7.25. And it's been $7.25. I was in high school when they raised it to $7.25. So that was almost half of my life ago. Anyway, so I had to put that I applied and interviewed for what I applied and interviewed for, but also have to submit that I denied employment because I chose not to do it. And so anyway, I submit that I've been off work this amount of weeks and I'm expecting 2 checks. Well, what I didn't know is that the first check is like a bye week and they just simply don't pay you for your first week. I tried to understand it. They explained it to me. I don't understand it, but it's just part of how it works. Of the first 2 weeks you submit, one of them is like a bye week and then they just don't give it to you. And I don't remember, or I didn't understand the explanation, but it just sucked because I had already been unemployed for a couple of weeks because I had to wait to apply in the first place. I'm hoping I'm making sense. I'm terrible at podcasting. So I had to write this like appeal form because they wouldn't pay me the one check because I denied employment. So I had to explain like, guys, I wouldn't have survived if I took this job. It would not have benefited me in any way. And so, but I got that appeal, and so I got my first check or whatever. And then by that point, I got my job. I'll say that it's a serving job. So I got my serving job. I was going to So my orientation for that job, which is literally walk into the building, get your uniform, take a tour. I wasn't even there an hour. That took place during my week that I submitted for. And I just didn't realize it or think of it or even consider, like, even if I did know, it would have been for 1 hour at $7.25 after taxes, $4. And that paycheck, they held it, and it's an unorthodox pay week. It's like a Wednesday to Tuesday. So I had to wait another 2 weeks to get paid that $4. So I still was unemployed. Like, I still went weeks without a check, and I just asked unemployment for 2 weeks. One of them I didn't get because it was a bye week. And then the second one I had to fight to get. And so it was just a pain. And I am grateful that I no longer have to even think or worry about that. Other than the appeal that, they wrote to me and you were like, hey, they actually said that you were employed on this date and you said that you weren't. So I have to explain to them like, hey, if you want me to just give you the $4 that I earned back, fine. But because I'm just done. Like, whatever. At this point, whatever you need to do, whatever. I'm employed now. I want to be done with the unemployment office. I'm grateful that I'm not unemployed anymore. And so it's been a total of like 6 weeks, I guess, since I lost my job. And it's just been terrible. So anybody who's kind of gone through that, I empathize greatly for you. Thankfully, it's definitely not the job that I want. And it's definitely a reason why I started making content again. Because I don't know. I just feel like I had this feeling where I wasn't proud of the stuff I've done up until this point, which isn't true. I'm really proud of most of the things that I've done over the last decade. I think that I've always thought, and I know this is I know how this comes off, so just bear with me. I just think I'm capable of more. I'm capable of a type of video that I haven't fully like showcased yet, I guess. Like, I feel like I can be bigger. So I'm proud of the work I've done, but I don't feel like I've done everything I can do in terms of performance and in terms of showcasing my abilities. So that's what I really want to do now with everything. So watch diaries like Old Faithful, me sitting down and talking to you guys, looking at what movies are coming out, what I've seen, and going through that kind of stuff. I do want to just, I do still want to have that as my backbone, but I also want to produce a new thing. And I think that's a lot of what these watch-alongs are accomplishing for me. It takes a lot longer to edit video, so I'm getting over that. It's very taxing on me, and that's what I've learned is that I've kind of I need to update myself on the best ways to accomplish said videos. So I've been watching a lot of watch-alongs, trying to figure out how they edit them, and I could go into it, I guess, but it would be a little bit boring. But anyway, I've really been trying to, if you watch my first Twilight watch along, I'm not that happy with it. I was definitely happy with it like the first time I hit export, and the first version I got was really good. But the way that I produced that video, the Twilight and the New Moon, I thought it was better for me to record with the movie in the frame with me. So I recorded one video file where the movie played continuously while I commented on it. And when I put that into Adobe, I put the actual movie in there as well. So every time I play a clip of the movie and then a clip of me reacting, the movie was still playing. Well, I found out very quickly that that was a nightmare for copyright infringement. I didn't know that it would cause me as much grief as it did, but I had to edit it so rapidly, and it's kind of nauseating for me to watch, but it was just to avoid not necessarily demonetization, but being blocked. So at this current moment, the Twilight watch along is demonetized, and I'm fine with it. But there were so many versions of it where it was just straight up blocked in certain territories. And that's not what I wanted. I would rather a video be demonetized than be blocked, because I'm on YouTube. I'm doing things for views. So I'd rather just get the views and just take the hit on a watch along that's only going to get a couple hundred plays anyway. Because ultimately, I'm still trying to figure out how to do them. So don't be surprised if one day I just take those down, because I think they're so bad. But so the New Moon watch alongs like that too. I recorded the movie with me, and I regret it. So the Eclipse watch along that I'm about to put out, I think it's easily the best one. And I don't have that same problem, but I still don't think I've mastered how to do them. So I'm excited to finish the Twilight watch-alongs, but I think I'm going to do them a little bit more sporadically, not necessarily commit to doing one a week from an entire franchise. I just might do them randomly and then put a lot of effort into them without a release date in mind. Because every Twilight one, there were 5 weeks in May. So I was going to put one out every single Wednesday in May. I'm going to move it to Friday. I think Friday's a better day to upload. So anyway, all this stuff is just boring, and I understand that. But I'm probably just going to commit to franchises less and like having hard release dates. And I'm just going to record one that I want to record, work on it as long as I want to work on it, and then release it when I want to release it. It's probably the best way to go. I say that, but watch me have like a M. Night Shyamalan month or some shit. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, I think, is making these watch-alongs, having the channel feel a little bit different while also feeling the same. And so anyway, I think those movie reviews I'm getting better at those. The hardest part about those is writing again. It's been a long time since I've written thoughts. So writing the copy of my movie reviews. I need to get better at that too, because sometimes I don't think I go full circle with my points. So anyway, I'm figuring all that kind of stuff out too. So I'm putting a lot of work into it because I don't want to be a server forever. One thing I didn't really consider when I became a server, I work at a very popular chain, a high quality chain, I will say. It's not Applebee's. It's a high quality popular chain. What I did not consider when I got the job is that, and I'm not going to go into specifics, but we do a thing for birthdays. And I don't know, it's maybe the most shame I've ever felt in a professional setting is having to do something to celebrate birthdays. There's another thing that we're asked to do that brings me shame. If I reveal what it is, it'll reveal where I work, so I won't do it. But let's just say it's a small thing when you consider everything else that you do in a single day, but it also brings me the most amount of professional shame that I've probably ever felt. So I am not gonna want to be there forever. And so anyway, that's why I'm trying to I take this opportunity, serving job. So I'll typically work just a few hours at a time. I definitely work doubles and stuff, but it allows me to spend more time on content and things like that. So I'm going to try to take advantage of where I'm at right now in my life and make videos that you guys are into, that I'm proud of, and that are fun to watch. I want to make stuff that's fun to watch. So anyway, that's sort of what's just kind of been going through my mind. I just kind of vomited out a shitload for you there, but that's kind of just what's been going on. I don't know if you guys what? I don't know if you guys like to hear me talk about kind of what goes into the content that I make. Yeah, I don't know if you like that, but there it was. Like I said, today's Sunday. So Thursday night, I saw my second most anticipated movie of the summer. It's already behind me now. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I loved it. It's really, really good. And I saw it with my sister. My younger sister is one of my best friends in the world. And one thing that we can always rely on, or at least one thing I can always rely on when I want to hang out and see my sister, is taking her to movies. And it's something I don't mind doing at all. I love going to the movies with her. And I thought back to when, obviously we haven't been friends our entire lives. I mean, we were siblings, and, you know, we had our years where we didn't like each other and would argue and bicker and things. I don't really remember those as well as she does because, you know, she's younger. So I think she just remembers her older brother being an asshole more than I remember picking on my sister. But we've also been really close for a long time, and we've been close longer than we weren't. But I thought about it, and there was obviously a moment where it just clicked, like, oh, you're my friend in life. And I think the first time I let her come along to see a movie with my friends group, I think it was 10 years ago when we saw Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And she, like, secretly is a sci-fi girly. I don't even think she knows it, because it's not like she, like, celebrates it like I'm a sci-fi girly or anything like that. But she secretly is. Because most of the movies that I've gotten her into have been science fiction. Without knowing anything about Star Trek, she loves Kelvin Timeline Star Trek. District 9. I showed her that movie when she was younger, and she really took to it. She loves the Apes movies. And like I said, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was, I think, the first movie that we saw together. And I let her come along with my friends group. So yeah, 10 years ago. And I told her that. And that's how I remember it anyway. I don't remember her going to see anything else prior to that. I'm sure if I looked it up, I would find it. But anyway, so for about 10 years, my sister's been one of my movie buddies. So I was definitely excited to see this and with her. And it was a good time. Going to the movies is a little scary nowadays. I've had a few just, maybe I shouldn't use words like scary and terrifying, but I've had a few instances where I've just been worried about other people in the theater because they don't shut the hell up during the trailers. That's a bad sign to me. If people are just overly talkative during the trailers, I fear for my life. I'm like, what is the movie going to be like? Because you have to understand this. People, you might be listening to this and you might be somebody that talks during trailers with people and you're like perfectly quiet during the movie. And that's fine. But my experience, like all of my life, is that people are still typically quiet during trailers. You know, maybe you hear like candy and popcorn rustling and things like that during trailers, or maybe somebody whispers, "Oh, I want to see that." Like that kind of stuff, totally get. That's what I'm used to though. Silence, rustling, whispering comments, that's normal to me, and I don't think anything of it. But the last year or so, I've been in theaters where people are just outright like talking to each other during trailers about shit that just makes me want to rip my limbs off. And I'm going to try to say this in the nicest way possible, but there have been people in my life where like I like movies and they like movies, but they are exhausting with how much they like movies and like pop culture and shit. And I literally just like want to eject myself from the conversation because I'm just like, okay, that's too much. Like I am not that. Like go talk to somebody else that shares that same energy, because now I have to talk about basketball or something like that. Or now we have to go outside. Like this is too much. And the people that talk about movies during the trailers remind me of that. But like, you know, they had a commercial for whatever they're doing with Doctor Who on Disney Plus. I don't know if they're like airing previous episodes or the new seasons, whatever. It was a Doctor Who thing. And if you don't know my stance on Doctor Who and its fan base, it's essentially that they're fine without me. They don't need me. Doctor Who doesn't need me. You're fine doing what you're doing over there. So the Doctor Who thing comes on, and then the guy sitting right next to me who smells terrible and the guy next to him are just going back and forth. Oh, that's on Disney Plus now? I thought it aired on the BBC. Well, they got distribution rights. Well, what about this? Blah, blah. And I literally am like, this is why I stopped podcasting for 10 months. So anyway, they're doing all this, and I'm just like, who cares? Just Google it after the movie. Like, who? So there's been a lot of instances of that happening. That was very specific to the Kingdom showing. But so these guys, I'm worried, and I'm just like, let's see how the movie plays out. But I'm already looking for like what other seats are open. I opened the Cinemark app to like go buy another ticket, but it's just to see what seats are filled. So I did all that just in case I had to remove myself from these two guys. Turns out the seat next to my sister stayed open, so I just literally moved to the other side of her, and it was and they were quiet anyway. It wasn't that bad. The theater, it was a good theater experience. But if you're talking during trailers, you're freaking me out. If you're talking during trailers, you're freaking me out, guys. I think the worst theatrical experience I've had, maybe almost ever, was Dead Reckoning Part 1. Or I guess just Dead Reckoning now. It was bad. The person I was sitting next to, oh my God, they were insufferable. So if you haven't heard me talk about it, they laughed at every single line of dialogue. And it was because this person, I thought I loved Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise. I've never seen someone so filled with joy for every frame of a movie. Like, they were just laughing. They wouldn't shut the hell up. And it was almost like they mistook every line in that movie for being read as a joke. Like there's funny moments in Dead Reckoning. A lot of sort of like what Shea Wiggum is doing is kind of funny and humorous and stuff, like trying to catch up with Ethan Hunt and stuff. But they laughed at every line of dialogue like it was a joke. A lot of the banter between him and Haley Atwell, for sure, but it was like every scene, even if it was deadly serious about the entity, was played like that. And my sister, who was on the other side of me, I thought she was going to just walk out. Avatar: The Way of Water, bad theatrical experience. We sat next to kids who wouldn't shut the hell up. Anyway, so I guess when you consider Dead Reckoning was last summer, Way of Water was like over a year and a half ago at this point. When you consider how few and far between they are, maybe it's not that bad, but maybe I've just had it good up until that point because it never used to be a problem. And then every now and then I get a terrible experience because of someone else. I read all the time on Twitter, and even Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes prompted a lot of people to talk about how people were just scrolling on social media, just wouldn't stop talking. And it's been happening a lot more. So maybe not so much for me, but I've been reading a lot more about it. And so I guess that's why I'm on edge every time I go into the theater. My Barbie experience wasn't great. So I sat in an aisle, and my friend Ernesto was beside me. And on the other side of him were, I guess, a mother and daughter. And the daughter wouldn't shut the hell up throughout the entire movie. And I thought Ernesto was going to leave or say something to me, but he never complained. And I was like, how did you do that? And I guess it's because the mother didn't speak English. And the daughter was straight up translating everything that was being said. Every line of dialogue in Barbie came out of this person's mouth in Spanish so that she was translating to her mother. So I felt a little bad that I was upset with that, but also, hey, I should be able to get mad at that as well. Packed theater, nowhere else to go. I don't know how that works exactly, but it sucked. I know that it sucked. I don't know if there's a solution, but it sucked for me. That's all I can say. It sucked for me to have to sit next to that person. But regardless of that, just a little bit more on edge, I guess. So the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes reaction's a little bit weird. Like, I loved it. I thought it was consistent with the previous trilogy that Matt Reeves mostly worked on. And I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really interesting. I do agree with some of the criticisms that it's slow in parts, but I'm cool with it because I just think everything about that franchise works. I think it's beautiful. Visual effects are just out of this world, and I'm just in this phase of my life where I just want to appreciate good filmmaking. I think part of good filmmaking is knowing how to edit yourself and knowing how to structure and knowing how to pace, for sure. But right now, I just feel like we get so much shit. So if I see a movie that's slow, but it's still beautiful, great visual effects, ultimately doesn't necessarily detract from the story, if the only thing is I'm bored a little bit, I'm cool with it. You want to know a very popular movie where I felt that way? Dune. My theatrical experience with the first Dune kind of took me back a little bit because it moves in its own way. It's not like it moves like a Transformers movie. It's not like it moves like a Marvel movie. It takes its time. I don't think it holds your hand very well. And you're kind of really not diving too much into the story because there's so much world building and things. And that's why I think Dune 2 feels a lot different than the first. And I think it's Dune Part 1 is easier to watch at home. Now that I know what it is, now that I understand what's going on in the world, like it's definitely easier to watch. But when I watched Dune for the first time, I didn't quite know what to make of it at first. But it turns out it's great. And I love Dune. But I think people are reacting to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in a similar way. I just think that they're bored because it's a little bit slower, and I'm not gonna fault the movie for it because I think everything else about it's great. I really like the Kara. I really like the character of Noah, and again, I just thought it was consistent with the franchise. So if you loved Dawn and War especially, I think Kingdom's a really interesting progression. If I had to rank them, I'd put it right above Rise, so it'd be my third favorite of the last four, but I think it's wonderful. So go see it. I hope it crushes it. So far, the box office, it says it's doing a really good job, especially consistent with the franchise. So I hope it crushes. They announced that they have a plan to do a total of 9. At first, I read that they were going to do 9 more, and I was like, no, that's overkill. But they were including the most recent 4, so I think that makes more sense. But we'll see. Go see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's a good movie. Long, but it's really good. Let's go through some of the movies that are coming out the rest of the year. We'll just kind of fly through this, and then I'll head out of here. I'm only really interested in having like these 40-minute podcasts. So we're at like 37 minutes. So I'm a little bit late, but who gives a shit? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This I don't have any interest in like knowing any more about it or seeing it, but I think Pullman has been fascinating. Chris Pine has been on this Pullman tour thing, and it's been kind of fun to watch clips of them, even though I don't care about the movie at all. I saw the TV Glow, this A24, I believe. I'll be honest, I kind of just don't even understand what it's about, having seen the trailer multiple times now. I don't like Justice Smith. Is that his name? I don't know why. And it's not often that I just come out and I'm like, it's not like I dislike him as a person, or if you go to a movie because you're attracted to movie stars doing movie star shit, I don't care about what he's doing. I just don't like him in that sense. Not as a person. I just don't like him as a presence that I want to watch on screen. So if this John Krasinski thing, I'm not interested in seeing, it's not my thing. It would have been my thing back in the day for sure. I think it's hilarious because there's like a Cartoon Network show that I didn't watch. It's like a school for imaginary children or some shit. I don't know. Apparently Krasinski just straight up ripped the story for that, or the idea, the premise for that, which is hilarious to me. The Strangers Chapter 1, I'm into. I don't know how it isn't just The Strangers again, but I like The Strangers a lot. So I'm excited. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I'm definitely going to watch The Strangers Chapter 1 eventually. Furiosa, that's probably my next theatrical experience. I already took off work to see it. I'm excited. Hitman with Glenn Powell. So stoked for that movie. Can't wait. I hope it's awesome. I think it's going to be. At the EW site that I'm looking at, it says it's in theaters. So I'm sorry, select theaters. I was going to say, I know it's on Netflix, but I don't know anything about it being in theaters. So I'm excited to see that for sure. June 7th. Oh, okay, June 7th is when Hitman's on Netflix. So it's in select theaters a week or so before that. But regardless, in June, I will watch Hitman. Bad Boys Ride or Die. Bad Boys for Life was really good, actually. And I don't know. I don't like the franchise enough to be like, oh, I've got to see Ride or Die because Bad Boys for Life was awesome. I kind of don't care about it. So I'm sure I'll see it eventually, but I'm not going to see it in theaters. Like, I think I just really was desperate to see a movie. That was like right before COVID, too. So it ended up being in like my top 3 of that year. And it was just because of COVID, though. But it was definitely fun to watch. Why do I feel like I'm supposed to know what The Watchers is? Oh, it's M. Night's Daughters movie. Yes, Dakota Fanning. That's in June. Same weekend as Inside Out 2. I'll watch that. Bike Riders, June 21st. So down. Can't wait. I want to see what's going on with Austin Butler. June 28th. Horizon, an American Saga, the whole thing that Kevin Costner's doing, sign me the hell up. 3 hours long, can't freaking wait. I'm not being sarcastic, by the way. I'm being dead serious. I'm all about whatever he's doing with this. I hope it works, too. I don't think that the press for it or anything is going to be flashy, but come on, old people. The old people are going to make that work. A Quiet Place Day 1, so down. Very consistent franchise so far. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Terrible title. I think it was actually Robert Meyer Burnett, so it's not my idea. But he had the idea to call it Beverly Hills Cop AF. That would have been way better. But also, sorry, Eddie Murphy, but I'm not interested in anything you do anymore. Maybe I never was. I kind of missed out on the whole Eddie Murphy of it all. I do like Beverly Hills Cop. Maxine, July 5th. I need to watch Pearl. I think I've seen like the first half of it. I watched it long enough to like figure out what was going on with David Cornsweet with since he was cast as Superman. By the way, I don't claim to be, how should I put this? I'm not the guy to defend Zack Snyder. I'm not the guy to defend the DCEU. I don't give a shit about resurrecting what all they were doing in the DCEU at all. Actually, I'm vehemently against it. And I'm anti Snyder's fan base. James Gunn dropped the ball with that first image. Dropped the ball. I don't think the suit is working for me. I also will straight up admit that seeing it in context is going to be way different. Seeing it on screen, in motion, absolutely. It's probably going to work. But that first image was only a mistake. Only a mistake. I'm not sure how I feel about it looking like motorcycle leather, like the way that the symbol looks. Just everything else in the image ruins it too. The background, just the look of it, like it doesn't make any sense. I think he dropped the ball on it big time, actually. And he should regret it. I'm not anti-James Gunn. I'm excited for the DCU. I'm glad James Gunn is running that studio. I think he made a mistake when he can't really afford to make many mistakes. It's going to be a long year before that movie comes out. So he really needs to think about what he puts out. That's what I'll say. And that's not a threat. I'm just saying, like, come on, dude. I'm rooting for you. But didn't work. Anyway, that came out of me seeing that Maxine is coming out July 5th, a movie that David Cornsweet isn't even in. Twisters, so down. Just going gaga for Glenn Powell right now. Deadpool and Wolverine, my most anticipated movie of the year and of the summer. So I'm hoping it works. I want to love Marvel again. I really do. That's kind of already it. Borderlands, who gives a shit? Alien Romulus, August 16th. So down. Horizon Chapter 2, August 16th. Oh, that's a difficult decision. Which one do you see? Alien Romulus or Horizon Chapter 2? I'll see Alien, but I'm still excited. What was the other movie I just saw that I wanted? The Crow. I just got my Crow 4K Steelbook, by the way, which is awesome. Anyways, that was just sort of what I was excited for. Just to breeze through it real quick. Guys, why did I go to take a drink? I'm going to take a drink, and then I'm going to close the show. Thank you so much for your continued support. This was really just a hang, wasn't it? We just kind of hung out here for 45 minutes. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. And I'll probably put out one of my video reviews of Kingdom here in the next day or so. I've got my Eclipse watch along coming out. I'm going to release it this coming Friday. Friday being the 17th. Because I think that's going to work a little bit better. I think Fridays do better on YouTube. And then I'll put out Breaking Dawn, part 1 and 2. And yeah, we'll see what comes next after that. But I'm excited. And I can't wait to get better at making my videos. That's kind of what sucks, is I'm still figuring everything out while releasing them. But I can't wait to like really nail down what my content is going to look like. So I'm getting there. And I appreciate you. All right. I'll see you on the next episode.